morning, everyone. It's Friday here in Manila. I'm Davila, giving you the head start for the day. Our guest for Hot Copy, I'd like to say we've been trying to get this guy on the show. I am personally a fan. He's the perfect guest to actually end the first week of 2014 before all of you go back in full swing, back to work on Monday. Lay minister, inspirational speaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur, Brother Bo Sanchez is with us this morning. Tweet your questions on life, love, relationships, family, finances. We are so fortunate. On Hot Copy, he's been spreading the word of God, inspiring thousands with his gift for the spoken and the written word. Today, Bo Sanchez is now, I have to say, a household name, an icon when it comes to inspirational speaking and writing. Let's take a look at this man.
Can actually come from God.
There are those who speak in tongues, and there are those who simply talk. Lay minister, inspirational speaker, and best-selling author, entrepreneur Bo Sanchez was born with that gift. Since the age of 13, when he began leading the Light of Jesus prayer meeting, he has been spreading good news, inspiring crowds, earning him the title Preacher in Blue Jeans. He founded the Light of Jesus community, whose inspirational gatherings have drawn thousands of members all over the world. He also founded many organizations such as Anawim, a home for the abandoned elderly and the poorest of the poor, and Shepherd's Voice Publication, a media group that publishes the widest read inspirational literature in the country. Bo has published around 31 best-selling books in 8 magazines on various issues, ranging from inspirational to inner healing, singles and relationships, and personal finance. He anchors a weekly television show, Kerygma, born from the magazine of the same name, and a daily radio show on Radio Veritas and an online inspirational show. In 2006, he received the Outstanding Young Men Award for Community Service. The following year, the Catholic Mass Media Awards accorded him the Serviam Award for Outstanding Lay Service to God. He has spoken in 14 countries, including 38 cities in North America. A dedicated husband and father, Bo aspires to be a
that you
channel
give a
of
luxurious
God.
life to your family. That's not God's, what God wants you to do, but to provide adequate.
All right, he's earned the title Preacher in Blue Jeans in the studio live. Lay minister, inspirational speaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur, and as I said a while ago, I said you're like the Joel Osteen of the Philippines. Welcome to Hot Copy, Bo Sanchez. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you, Karen.
We've been trying to have you on the show. Do you know that? It's your
No.
schedule. No, I swear. I think this is just God ordained that you were on the show the last day of the first week of 2014. Now tell me this. When one enters a new year, there are always goals to reach, New Year's resolutions, but often they fail.
Yes.
What is the most important as you're entering a new year?
2 things.
Okay.
You need to have big dreams.
Oh,
because
wow, I love
because if you have small dreams, they don't wake you up.
Okay.
Big dreams attract more resources and attract more power and fire in your belly.
Yes, yes.
So the bigger the dream, the better. But in the same way, you need to be able to start small. Big dreams, but start small. You can't have start dream big and then start big also,
Okay.
because then you fail. So aside from a dream, you need a system, and that's where
wow.
people fail.
God, you're amazing. Okay, you're really a man. Meron ka na kagad system, all right?
You need
a system.
It's systems that bring success.
Okay.
Not just dreams. So you need to have a system, and what would a system be? The proper attitude, the mentors that you need to put in place, and then the small little steps. It's not the big things that changes people's lives. It's the small things that you do consistently every day.
I love that.
That changes people's lives.
Okay.
So for example, you have a marriage. It's not like kneeling in front of your wife or your husband and saying, I'm going to die for you, I'm going to sacrifice myself. No, it's the small little things that you do every day, like maybe hugging your wife every day, and complimenting her, 7 times a day, and things like that. So
okay. So you said 1, 2 things. You said big dreams. What was the second one?
System.
The system is already the second one.
Yeah.
Do people usually have this at the start of the year? That's why they always say, you know what, this year I am going to lose weight. This year I am going to leave this relationship.
That's right.
This year I'm going to be better at work. And they fail.
And they fail.
Yeah.
Because there is no system.
Yeah.
There is no place whereby the proper environment to nurture that dream.
Okay.
And so that's very, very important.
All right. Now, how do you leave a past behind? When you open Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all part of the New Year's messages are, if you let go of the past, a better 2014 is up ahead.
Yes.
There are new pages to be written in 2014 and all that. But, leaving a past behind is easier said than done.
That's right. That's right. Having, hope is about, not just about knowing what you should focus on, but knowing what you should not focus on.
Okay.
Hope is about ignoring the noise. And ignoring the noise is ignoring painful memories.
Yeah.
And the way to do that, our senses is bombarded by a billion stimuli.
Yeah.
Textures, sounds, smells, tastes, and sights, all of these things. And the way we become sane is actually to be able to focus on just 1, 2 things instead of the billion things coming, bombarding our lives like a tidal wave.
Yeah.
The way to become sane is to learn to focus. And so when you don't really, you cannot say that you forget the past, because the past is there. I mean, how can you forget? I was abused when I was a child.
Okay.
And
wow, you were, huh?
I was raped.
Okay.
And so can I, now in my age, say I'm gonna forget about that? Never happened. You can't.
That's denial.
That's denial. And no, you accept it. It happened. But do I focus on it?
Yeah.
And that's the magic. Being able to say, am I going to focus on the painful thing that happened to me, or will I focus on the new opportunities that's in front of me right now, and saying to myself, no, whatever happened to me blessed me in some way. I really believe this, and this might be a little bit controversial for some people, and they won't accept this, but I believe that our biggest problems are our biggest blessings.
Amen.
But it's right there, deep inside, and we need to have trust and faith that they're there.
Okay. You know what? You had mentioned that you were raped as a child, and I wanted to ask you, if it's all right to venture in this, is coming from that experience, how do you find it in yourself to forgive and not be bitter? Because we may be having viewers who were left by their husband.
Yes.
Their husband cheated on them.
Yes.
They were verbally, sexually abused.
Yes.
I mean, they've been hurt.
Yes.
And yet, it's so difficult to actually be in your position to forgive and not be bitter and not take that in your relationships. Because sometimes you are so unaware and you take your bad history with you, and your partner or someone you love takes the brunt. You scream at them, you hate them or whatever. It comes out.
Yes.
How did you do it?
It's not easy. And I tell everyone it's never going to be easy, even now, I would struggle at the, every person has a love tank.
Okay.
And sometimes our love tanks are empty. And the reason why we're not able to give love to other people is because our love tank is empty, because no love has come in. And I have to put this thing that ultimately, at the end of the day, it's got to be God's love that will fill up your love tank. The reason why you can forgive someone is because you have received that forgiveness and that love. And so if there is someone out there listening to us right now, watching us and saying, I cannot forgive, I'm going to say, I understand what you're going through. I've been through that. But I'm going to invite you to go to the source of all forgiveness and the source of all love, just to allow God to fill your heart with love. He's not expecting you to forgive right away. There is a moment where you being angry is actually a season whereby you're allowing yourself to say that person did something wrong to me.
Or hurtful.
That's important.
Or hurtful,
Or
yeah.
hurtful.
Oh.
That moment of saying, no, that is injustice. That's good because you're loving yourself and you're filling your love tank. But you can't stay there because anger has an expiry date.
Okay.
You cannot just stay angry and because at a certain point it poisons you. So what you need to do is move on. God does not expect you to have feelings of forgiveness. He just expects you to have an act of forgiveness.
That's interesting.
You just make a decision and say, God, I don't want to forgive. I don't feel like forgiving. But I make a decision right now that by your power, I want to forgive this person. I don't like to forgive him, but I'm making that choice. And then that's it. You know, even after that, you still feel bitter and all that, but you've made that choice. And then over time, God will give you that love to be able to forgive that person.
Now, is God always faithful that when you ask, I mean, I would know the answer, but to our viewers, that when you ask for something like that, that the miracle will happen?
Yes, I believe.
You know what I mean?
I know. And sometimes He comes not in the way we expect Him to, not in the timetable that we want Him to move, but He does. I really believe He does. Sometimes the answer comes at a very long time and you're still trapped in those feelings, but then that daily struggle of trying to do what you are supposed to do, there is a compound effect. I'm a teacher in finances, so I love the compound effect principle. It works also in the area of your emotions, of just making a decision every day. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to forgive. I don't feel like forgiving, but I'm going to forgive. And focusing, there's a compound effect. The way that investments grow over time and become multi-millions, that compound effect works in every area of our life, even in our emotions.
No, you're amazing. I was going to ask you, most religious speakers, so to speak, I've always said, I mean, if you're Catholic, you go to a priest. But the nice thing about you is you're quite normal. All right? Meaning you're married, you've fallen in love, you have children. You understand me? You're one of us. All right? So you're faced with temptation every day. You're faced with so many regular problems every day. What do you feel is your secret?
Wow.
How are you successful?
I want to thank God that
How
early
did you
on,
do it?
My parents, I really thank God they're no longer with us, with me. They've gone ahead. But I really want to thank God for them. The way they nurtured me, the way they raised me up, the way they loved me, the way they filled up my love tank.
I see. So parenting is really important. So you discuss this also. Parents sometimes don't know the effect they have on their children. When you fight in front of your children, what happens?
Oh, they ask themselves, why are they fighting? Is it my fault? Kids, for some reason, they think the universe revolves around them. And so when they see their parents fighting, they kind of like blame themselves in some illogical way. It's not true, it's totally not valid. But when I was abused as a child, I thought it was my fault. What did I do? How did I deserve this? And so parents, I really will always tell them that the best way to love your spouse, the best way to love your children is to love your spouse. How do you show that to your child? That you love your spouse? Because in every day, you may not be fighting, but it may not be a proactive way of showing you love your spouse. I'm going to say this, that it's very important that you don't, I think I shared it a while ago already, it's the small things that you do every day.
Is it important to be physical?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is.
Before I got married, when I was still single, I wrote down my dreams. Speaking of dreams for the new year, and I wrote down 15 pages of everything I wanted to do with my life. I was still single then, so one of the dreams I wrote down was I will be the best husband my wife will ever have.
What?
I didn't even know who she would be.
You wrote that down?
I wrote it down. And I'm going to kiss her 7 times a day.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to have a weekly romantic date with my wife.
Sana nakikinig ang mga cameraman. Okay, and then?
And so those were 15 pages of all my dreams. You know, I'm going to be a best-selling author.
You wrote this, so
I
you
wrote it down.
visualized it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do this.
I'm going
Okay.
to have a ministry for the poorest of the poor. It's going to be in a huge property where we take care of the abandoned
But did
elderly.
you have some special vision, or you just wrote
No,
down
no.
stuff that you felt,
Yeah.
I want to do them this year, that it became true?
Yes,
Because
because
Oprah did that too.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it visualization.
and it's very important. Everybody does that. I mean, athletes do that
Yeah.
for Olympics.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't do that, but I
Visualize.
will.
You visualize what you want to happen. You write it down, and then you create a system to be able to accomplish it. So one of the systems I did was every morning I would pray. A part of my
Okay.
prayer is to get those 15 pages and start reading them.
To remind yourself.
Remind myself. This is so. When I wake up in the morning, there are people who wake up in the morning and they don't know what they're gonna do, where they're going. I don't have that problem, you know.
Yes.
Every morning I have those 15 pages, read through them, and boom, I'm a torpedo. Like, this is what I want to happen. So I wrote that as a single person, and I got married 15 years ago, and
You've lived it every day.
I've lived it every day. I kiss my wife 7 times a day. And there are times, when I say this to people, people don't believe me. But I say, no, I do kiss her 7 times a day. Sometimes I don't feel like it.
Yes. I
There
know
are
what you
days
mean.
when you don't, but
Yeah.
it's a decision. And so
But
that,
I'm like that too. I
Yeah.
mean, like you. I say I love you.
yeah.
It's not that I'm feeling it every moment,
Yeah.
but I say I love you because it's a declaration.
It's a declaration.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I do that too.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
then when you say that and when you do the right thing, again, the compound effect of being able to do it over time. I still date my wife every week for the past 15 years. No
Okay.
fail.
Now, how important is sex with your wife or spouse?
Very
because, you know,
important.
I have friends
Yes.
that have not had sex for like 2 years,
Yes.
1 year, and everything seems okay.
Yes.
Then I worry and say, are you sure
Yeah.
that's normal?
I've
How
met,
important
yeah.
is sex with your spouse?
For me, it's very important. For me, it's.
Wait, do you preach this? Do you say it in
Yes,
church?
yes. I had one time. You know, we have thousands of people who attend our feast.
Yes.
That's what we call our big gathering. And so there was one Sunday when I said, "Okay, single people, we're going to put you into another room."
Okay.
And all the married people
All right.
stay with me. And then
Okay.
I spoke about a whole talk on just married sex.
So how do you feel now when people are busy? I mean, you know, that initial in love factor is gone. You've been married 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, you know, like this person, like the back of the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
So how do you then, you know, tell them that you have to have sex? Do you schedule it? What do you do?
Yes.
You do. See, that's what I like about you. You're frank. So you have to schedule sex if you must.
Because there are days when you'd rather sleep than have sex.
Yeah.
There are days when you just said, "No, come on, never mind." But no, you make a decision. This is my way of showing love to my spouse, and
Yeah.
I will do it. This is a priority. And then, you know, after you do it, you say, "Wow, thank God." You know, we're married. I enjoy this woman. You know, I love her.
Amazing. How do you know now if for those who are not married,
Yeah.
many in ANC are not married,
Yeah.
that a person is not good for them? Because 2014 is the start, I mean, a new year is the start of change.
Yes.
So some change could be for a goal,
Yes.
but some change could be not to take certain things or people with you.
Yes. There are people that are not good for you. There are people who being with that person does not make you a better person. And when you have that, the first thing you ask is, how am I contributing so that this relationship is not good for me? Maybe I'm contributing something to the pot, you know, to the recipe that's making it stale and making it bitter and so on. But after asking that question and reflecting on yourself, and you see that this person is abusing you, you see this person is not making you a better person, at the end of the day, you've got to make a choice. You've got to make a choice and say, I'm going to love myself. I'm going to fill up my own love tank. I'm going to respect myself. There are people that you have to love from a distance, you know, where you have to say, wait a minute, I'm going to love you, I'm going to pray for you,
Yeah.
but I don't have to hang out with you, every day. That could be a friend, that could be a boyfriend. And so there are times as you enter this new year, I'm going to challenge people, I'm going to invite people. No, you've got to love yourself. How can you love God and how can you love others if you don't love yourself?
Now, they're asking now on TV,
Yeah.
Bo, how do I love myself?
Yes.
Because, we don't really know how to love ourselves. I mean,
Yes.
if you say the outer things, well, eat right, exercise, make yourself, okay, those are the outer things. But some abused people are the most beautiful, huh? I mean, you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
So how do you love yourself?
Yeah.
Like, love yourself.
Yeah. Being able to value yourself to the point, first of all, protecting yourself from abuse is very important. I speak from experience. I speak from helping thousands of people who've gone through what I've gone through and similar situations. I tell them the first thing you've got to do is protect yourself. Put boundaries.
Okay.
So many people don't have boundaries in their individual lives.
That's true. I didn't have boundaries before.
Yeah.
I mean,
we just say yes to people.
Yes, I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
True.
That's right.
So saying no is a good thing.
Saying no is a
Saying
good
no is
thing.
a good thing, yeah.
Saying no is a good thing because when you're able to say no to wrong things, you'll be able to say yes to right things.
Or sometimes it's not even the wrong things. It's just giving in like to family, to friends, to the point you're tired, but you have to say yes.
Yes.
That's also
right.
not loving yourself.
That's
no?
right. You've got to be able to know, when you're able to say no to good things, you'll be able to say yes to greater things.
Okay. All right. Now, what many people want at the start of the year and always their goals is to become rich. Who doesn't want to become rich? All of us want to become rich. First, some people may think, before we discuss the book, that when you're an inspirational speaker, you're a Catholic lay minister, you have no right to become rich.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
That
get,
you know what? You have to live in poverty. You have to be poor.
Yeah.
Bo Sanchez, you cannot drive a nice car.
Yeah.
You cannot live in a nice home.
Yep.
How did you overcome that?
First of all, I had to overcome it within me.
Okay.
Because about 15 years ago, when I got married, a year before that, I had to struggle and wrestle with those conflicts.
With wealth?
Yes.
Yes.
Because in my mind, I was discombobulated. I was arguing in my, wait a minute, to be rich is evil. Yeah. And money is evil.
Yeah.
And to be filthy rich is precisely that, filthy.
Yeah.
And to be holy is to be poor.
Yes.
To love God is to be poor. And so I had to struggle with that and overcome all those ideas by actually praying, reading, talking to mentors, understanding that the vow of poverty is a good thing. It's a special call from God, but it's limited to like 0.0001% of God's faithful people, the celibates, the people who are dedicated. But if you're married, if you've got kids, He does not call you to a vow of poverty. He calls you to a vow of generosity and abundance.
Oh, that's a good one, huh?
To understand that when God blesses you, it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's for other people.
Yeah.
And so when you limit His blessings into your life, you're limiting also your ability to bless others.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask you, what's very interesting is on a more news angle is in the last few years, we've seen how the Catholic Church has been rocked by scandals.
Yes.
I mean, you have priests already, coming out, victims coming out and saying, this priest I trusted abused me in many parts of the world.
Yes.
And maybe it comes from that twisted idea first that sex is wrong, so you do it in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, being wealthy is wrong, so you end up, I don't know, you end up to satisfy things you feel are wrong. Ganun yun, but that's human nature.
Yes.
So how do you teach it then to tell people that, having a libido is right? I mean, what do you do with, let's say, sorry to say we're on TV, but if it's a boy, a teenager, if I, the word M or experiment with myself, is that a sin? What does Bo Sanchez say?
Yeah. First of all,
what do you say?
Yeah.
You have voice.
I do. So I tell him sex is beautiful.
Okay.
Sex is wonderful. Sex is a gift from God. And sex was made by God for marriage within the
Yes.
confines and the environment of a committed relationship
Agree.
that's consecrated to
Yes, but before you get married,
But before
do
you
you
get
experiment with yourself usually. So what do you tell them?
No,
This is where the
God.
controversy
Yes,
lies.
yes. And to be able to say this is normal when you have sexual
Yes.
feelings and sexual desires, that's normal. Congratulations, you're a guy.
Okay.
You know? But at the same time, self-control is also a sign of maturity.
Okay, so I'm
And,
going to ask you,
yeah.
is masturbation a sin?
I would say, you know, I was addicted to,
Okay.
to masturbation when I was
Okay.
a teenager. And
But most teenagers probably are. Huh?
Well,
I mean, okay, I'm sorry, but go ahead, continue.
maybe not to my extent,
Okay,
not to
go
my
ahead.
degree.
Yeah.
So for me, the experimentation as a young teenager, I feel that's normal.
Yeah.
You go through that
You have-
curiosity.
okay.
You know, what is this? You know, but I always tell the young teenagers, you know. Always strive for self-control, not only the area of sex, but any area, you know,
Okay.
video games or food, you know.
That's true.
You know,
iPad, whatever. Yeah.
Self-control. This is what makes a person successful in life. You
That's
know?
true. That's
how relationships work by having self-control. So practice self-control. You don't want to be addicted to anything.
Yeah.
You don't want to be enslaved to anything.
Why do people get addicted? That's a very good point. You know, most people have enough sense of willpower to
Yes.
function in their lives.
Yes.
But you get into addicted relationships.
Yes.
Why? I mean, not really drugs.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
No.
or alcohol, not even,
Not
but
only
you
that.
get addicted to something.
Yes.
Why?
Addiction is nothing else but a hunger for love.
Really?
Always. Always.
Across the board?
Always.
Oh
It's
my
always
God,
a hunger
really?
for love. You are looking for love, but because you cannot experience love, you don't even love yourself, and the people, the key persons in your life, you're not able to receive love. What do? You look for a substitute.
Yeah.
You look for an anesthesia.
Yeah.
And that anesthesia could be, you know, shabu, it could be alcohol, it could be testosterone.
Yeah, or the wrong person.
It could be the wrong person, it could be video games, it could be anything.
Yeah, or friends.
You're looking for a painkiller.
Something, yeah.
The most insidious pain in a person's life is the lack of love. And you want to deaden that. And that's where addiction comes in.
Or you're probably looking for it,
Yeah.
and you think it's love?
Or it's, you know, your subconscious mind is screaming out, you know, I want this pain to go away. And so you grab and you deaden it.
My God, this is so revealing. I didn't know
Yeah.
you're super no holds barred. Ako pa yung nahiya sa iyo magtanong ng
No.
una. You are ready
Thank
for
you.
any question?
Thank you for those questions.
Yeah, but nothing already surprises you.
After
Not
being
really.
in ministry for all these years, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm curious before we go. So let's say it's an old married couple.
Yeah.
And let's say a woman complains that the husband cannot have sex with her.
Yeah.
What do you advise them?
I've had those cases, and I tell them, I tell that woman again, look at where you are contributing to the situation.
But what if it's physical for the man? I mean, men have pride.
Yeah,
they won't. I don't know. They won't go to a doctor, or what do you do?
Yeah, there are situations where you cannot do anything about it. If there are things that you cannot control, like the other person,
Yeah.
you know, you cannot control. Focus on what you can control.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do you ever encourage people to separate? Have you ever done that?
Yes.
You have.
Yes.
Why?
When there is abuse.
Already.
When there is abuse, when the husband is abusing the wife, and
Yes.
you know, I say, even temporarily separate.
You do.
You know, yeah, and find a way by which you, because the way to stop abuse is actually to tell that person, look, you can't continue. You know, you are not loving me. No, I'm going away. We did not have a covenant with God with abuse as part of the pot. No,
Yeah.
I'm leaving. And so in the leaving, hopefully that person changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes that person does not change. So the temporary separation becomes a permanent separation.
So what is your stand on divorce then?
Divorce. Oh gosh. I believe in the sanctity of marriage.
Of
I
course.
believe that
I have no doubt.
I have, to the very best of our ability, to the full extent of our sacrifice and our love. That's what love is all about.
Yeah.
You know, you make a decision and say, this is not for, marriage is not for me. Marriage is for the other person.
Okay,
you know, and I always teach that. So no, I don't believe in divorce. But I do believe that there are times when a woman or a man will have to separate, first of all, temporarily, see if the other person can change, you know. But there are times I know that cannot happen, and so that person has to make the temporary permanent.
And you believe in remarriage?
I believe, you know, the Catholic Church, I'm Catholic.
Of course, that's why I'm curious.
So the Catholic Church has a process called annulment.
Yes.
I know it is laborious. I know it is very difficult, but maybe it is difficult for a certain purpose, you know, to be able to give the couple time. Maybe you can still work on it. Maybe you can temporarily separate first, and maybe later on, you know, people mature and then maybe make it. So, but there is a point where they say, okay, there are grounds for annulment, and then when that is given, then remarriage is possible.
Okay, all right. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we can go 2 hours with Bo Sanchez. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Western Union. Send money abroad.
At 12 noon, we bring you the latest and most extensive news in the country and abroad.
With the latest from the stock market, sports, showbiz.
And now, from the Regional Network Group, we bring you news from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Because there's no lunch break in news reporting. I'm Gigi Grande.
I'm PJ Manoto.
And I'm Ryan Gamboa.
This is Dateline Philippines.
Weekdays, 12 noon.
With Philippine growth opening up opportunities and risks, business news has never been more important. Before the workday ends and as the markets close, get your news now at 3 p.m.
All right, Bo Sanchez is with us now just to start the year right. He wrote this book, The Abundance Formula, 4 simple steps that make good people rich. Everybody wants to be rich. All right, first, let's start. Can you be rich if you're not an entrepreneur? Let's say you're working for ANC.
Yes.
You can still be rich?
You can.
Okay. Rachel, you can be rich.
Yeah.
How? All right, with your salary.
Yes.
Okay, how do you do
absolutely.
it? How? I mean, are there... Okay, go.
I wrote another book.
Okay.
It's called My Maids Invest in the Stock Market.
What? Really?
Yes.
My maids invest
Yeah.
in the stock. I did invest, but I don't really invest. But go.
6 years ago, I taught,
Okay.
I taught my maids. I said, if I can teach my maids and my driver how to invest in the stock market, I can teach anyone.
What do you mean, openly the stock market, or you mean like a balanced fund?
No, right directly into the stock market.
My God.
Yes.
Oh, and then?
Because I believe that the best and the safest investment is actually in the stock market.
Okay.
People don't know that. I was actually giving a seminar about this, and they were inviting me to give a seminar. There was this Catholic community who invited me, and they said, "Can you give us a seminar on finances?" I said, "Sure." And they said, "What's the title?" And I said, "How to make millions in the stock market." And they said, "No, thank you." And then they didn't call me back anymore because they have a people, and I understand it. People feel uncomfortable. What can you invest in the bank na lang?
Oh,
or can
something
you invest?
safe.
Yeah.
Or maybe these I mean, like these companies like Sun Life,
Yeah.
wherein they handle the fund for
and
you.
that's fine.
That's fine.
That's great. That's I call that the indirect way of investing in the stock market.
But you are teaching people to directly invest.
Yes.
Why?
But investing because you have more control and you can earn a little bit more.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this book, the 4 simple steps. Let's start with the 4 simple steps. You have to bullet them. Go.
Yes.
It's
number 1. The whole formula is 100, 10, 20, 70.
110, 20,
and 70.
And 70. Okay.
So why 100?
Why?
You have to earn 100%.
Okay.
You have to find a way to say to yourself, I'm going to maximize how much I can earn.
Okay.
Like, meaning to say, utilize all my gifts, the gifts that God has given to me. If God gave me that gift, He wants me to use it. And to develop it over time. To be the best that you can be.
Okay, that's fine.
Many people don't.
So let's say
that.
you're a writer in ANC.
Yeah.
You're a producer.
Yeah.
You earn a certain amount.
Yes.
What would you advise based on their salary for them to become rich?
Yes. Number one, be the best that you can be. Because promotion comes from being the best. Okay. Number two, give 10%.
Dito marami nahihirapan dito.
Yes.
Tithe.
Yes.
Tithe. Why tithe?
Number one, because I believe it's the starting wheels of generosity. Generosity is opening your palm.
That's true.
Because
I believe in that.
When you open your palm, then you're ready to receive.
Okay. Next.
So that's a very important law. 20%.
Oh.
So 100% earn, 10% give, 20% invest.
Invest?
Yes.
Okay.
20% of your income every single month. You receive 100% of your salary, 100% of your commission.
Yeah.
You know, set aside 20%.
I
got that from the Bible. Joseph, the dreamer, you know, he was the governor of Egypt. He had these dreams, and then 20% of the whole produce he kept, and that saved Egypt from famine.
Okay. So the last?
And then is 70%. Live on 70% of your income.
That's not bad.
Yeah, live simply. You know, make a decision and say, "This, I will not overspend. I will live below what, you know, my
yes.
Yes.
So in other words, because the world today is this, if you earn 100%, you have a credit card, you're spending 200%.
Yes, exactly.
I have so many friends wherein I go crazy and I'm like, you cannot pay just that lower end of the minimum of the credit card.
Oh, gosh.
They forget to see that it's 3.7% interest.
Every month.
Every month. They forget to see that. So technically, living on 70% of what you earn is not bad.
Yes.
The Chinese live on 10 or 20. I mean, I'd like to say.
That's right.
Your advice is pretty good.
That's
okay.
Right.
Michelle Espiritu tweets, I read your book about how to find your one true love. Oh, my. Do you know one true love is always, I think, across the board.
Yes.
Always the most asked question. One true love. Okay. What's the best thing they should do? She asks. That's a direct question.
You need to all those, with that question, you need to know the person that you are looking for. You need to make a decision and say, this is the person I want with this set of values. You don't just say, okay, I need a husband, you know, and any Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes, yay, you know, somebody who looks for you. Actually, that person may not want you, may just want your body, or may just want your money, or, you know, so you need to have a criteria.
Yeah.
And then, because I'm a spiritual person, I say, don't just look for Mr. Right, be Miss Right.
That's true.
Develop yourself so that you can be able to have this person that you're looking for, and then don't settle. You know.
Now, but can love grow? Because I am a believer that if you are kind every day, and you don't make someone feel insecure every day, you don't test the other person or push triggers.
Beautiful.
Right? You love can grow.
Oh, absolutely.
Because alam mo, part of why people fight, they pull triggers every day.
Yes.
No, really.
Yes.
Nag-aasaran, let's see kung maaasar to, and you give him at some point.
That's
but sometimes if you don't pull triggers, love can grow.
Wonderful. Exactly. I mean, every relationship, the two people contribute into. That's why they say that marriage is, 100-100. You know, you give 100, the other person gives 100. Some people think it's 50-50. That will never work.
That won't work.
No.
Okay. Abraham Bormate asks, how do you discern what God wills? Great question. How will you know? Ay, ang ganda ng tanong for all of us.
Beautiful. Some people think that the will of God is somewhere out there, where you kind of like look and say, oh gosh, where's the will of God? No, the will of God for me is our deepest desire.
Okay.
Because when God created you, He created you with your deepest desire, and that's to do His will, to love Him and to serve Him. Our problem is that our deepest desire is covered with our shallow desires.
Yes.
And discernment is really taking the scalpel of wisdom and stripping away our shallow desires until we touch base with our deepest desire. Knowing that will we discover God's will. So the second thing I want to say about God's will is that it's not a narrow path. Some people think that the will of God is narrow because that's in the Bible.
Yes.
The will of God is narrow, yes, for choices between good and bad. But between choices of good and good, it's very wide.
That's true.
It's very, very wide.
That's true.
And if God wanted to tell us the details of our activities every day, He should have created robots.
Yeah.
But He didn't. He gave us a phenomenal mind to be able to choose what is right and what is here and what is good. So
and really, what is best.
And what is best.
Yes.
So I believe Christians should be the most free people in the world.
Amen. But
so
they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
So God does not give you a detailed plan. He gives you a call.
A call.
And
I love that.
And then he says, it's now up to you to fulfill that call. You don't go to God and say, Lord, what should I wear? Or where should I go? No. He says, love. Serve people.
Yes.
Be the best that you
They're
can
the
be.
basics, yeah.
That's my call for
Yes,
you.
yes.
Share my love. Lord, how? And God says, it's up to you.
Okay. Jesh Sulio asks, any advice, Bo, on long-distance relationships? Good luck. No, I'm kidding. My God, that's hard.
Yeah.
But, well,
Yeah. Well, the thanks be to God for the internet, and you'll be able to connect more often and make that decision of sharing more. But I really believe that there should come a point when, especially if you're thinking of marriage, you should before you jump into marriage, spend time together physically, because that's the only way that you discover really who you.
Okay.
The other
All right.
person.
We don't have enough time already, but your last words, I guess, coming from your own experience of, you've met so many souls, so many people.
Yes.
What is the most common thread or problem why they go to a service or church or seek the Lord?
Yeah. People go through problems. And when people go to the feast, that's what we call our gathering every Sunday at PICC.
Yeah, which is massive. I saw the pictures.
Come join us anytime. I'd like to invite all of you to come and join us at PICC every Sunday. When people go there, they come with their burdens and their trials and their problems. That is the most common reason. And so the moment they come in, I address that. I may have a topic, that will be totally unrelated to that, but I always start with that because that's where people are. And I tell them, when you go through your trials, I want you to discover the treasure in those trials.
That's the first.
That sometimes we think that when bad things happen, it is God's rejection. Many times it is God's redirection.
Amen.
And if you just
listen.
listen.
What's that? When bad things happen, it is God's redirection.
Yes, not God's rejection.
Okay.
Because some people think, bad things are happening, maybe because God doesn't like me, or I've done so many bad things, and God. No, maybe it's I believe many times it's God's redirection. God is saying that's not for you. This is the best way for you. Just hold on, have faith, believe, trust, and better things are coming your way.
All right. Thank you very much, Bo Sanchez.
You,
is this out in the market? Is this already sold?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Sold right now. I'd like to plug this. It's a group of 4.
Yeah, these are daily devotionals where people can connect with God, read through scripture every day.
You can write notes on it, your thoughts, dreams, and this is daily reflections for Catholics.
And that,
specifically,
yes.
like if you're Buddhist or Christian.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Anybody can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are all sold already in bookstores.
And my people always ask me, where they can connect with me through online. You can just go to my webpage. It's bosanchez.ph. And there, every Monday, they'll receive an article from me that will inspire them, make them a better person.
And so you really write them? You have no ghostwriter?
No, I have. I'm a writer. I love to write.
That's good to know. All right. Thank you so much, Bo, for coming. The pleasure's all mine. Let's get started today. Replay of this interview is 6 p.m. tonight. Have a good weekend, everyone. We will be uploading this interview. So many people are already asking ahead of time and giving you the weekend schedule to inspire you. Have a good weekend, and next week, it's really the start of your 2014 workday. Take care, everyone.